Digital Talk Radio. Join us every Wednesday and Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk with all my friends from the automotive and custom car business about all the latest things going on in the industry today. That's In the Garage with me, Bodie Stroud, Wednesdays and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on CRN Digital Talk Radio.
Welcome to Divine Love Talk with Dr. Parthenia Grant, where we talk about health, well-being, and the love of the divine that exists in all of us. Now, here's your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant.
Good morning. I'm so excited to be here today with my guest joining me via Skype from Ananda Village. I have the spiritual directors of Ananda Worldwide, a group of spiritual communities scattered all over the world. There are about 9 of them, and they are based on the spiritual principles set forth by Paramahansa Yogananda. Welcome. It's Davy, and would you please pronounce your names, please, so that I don't mispronounce them?
Sure. It's Jyotish.
Jyotish.
And Davy.
Okay, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to join us today, and we're talking about finding happiness living in communities that are steeped in spirituality and Dharma, which is the law of right action. And you guys have a film called Finding Happiness, and that's how I found you. So I'd like to start out talking about the film. If you could give the audience a little background on how the idea came about and what you guys were hoping to accomplish with this film.
Well, I'll start out. Thank you, Parthenia. Ananda community at the village in California, we're located near Tahoe in Northern California. And this community has been in existence for about 45 or 46 years. And we have had a lifestyle here that has really worked, that really answers a lot of the problems, the questions that people have about how to live a life that provides them with more happiness. And so having all that experience, thought that it would be a really good idea to share it. And we have been sharing the principles, the community in many different ways, but never before through an actual film that would be able to be shown in theaters.
Okay. Well, it's certainly, when I got a copy of the film from your publicist, I, read Autobiography of a Yogi decades ago and have always been moved and struck by those teachings and by the beauty of the self-realization fellowships that are located here in Los Angeles. I go to Lake Shrine and just the energy there is palatable, and I recommend that my students go there just to meditate. So when I got the film, I thought, wow, I didn't even know that something like this existed. There was nothing in the Autobiography of a Yogi that, gave a clue that this was a vision of Paramahansa Yogananda's. And I think it's timely because there are a lot of people that are in search of spiritual communities. And having visited there, I was very honored, and I want to thank Nancy, for organizing my visit to Ananda Village. I can say firsthand that what you guys are doing there works. In my opinion, it's a utopian society. I really couldn't find any negatives in living there. It's beautiful, it's run smoothly, and it gave me the impression of what a real community should be about in terms of supporting each other, and having a vision of the people living there never having to deal with the rigors of life on their own. So I congratulate you guys.
Thank you. Shall we call you Dr. Grant or Parthenia?
Oh, Parthenia is perfect.
Okay, thank you. Well, I want to address one thing you said earlier in your comments, that there wasn't any mention of communities from the autobiography. Actually, there are many different editions of the autobiography, and in the third edition, which is the last one that Yoganandaji actually wrote. After that, he passed away, and there were editorial changes that he did not oversee. In the third edition of the autobiography, in the goals and ideals of his mission, he says the founding of World Brotherhood colonies to establish the principles of plain living and high thinking. Mm-hmm. And throughout his life, in the years he lectured, he talked very often about the need for communities. There are many articles that are available to read. So this was a big part of his mission. It wasn't something that Ananda just made up. Ananda was founded by a direct disciple of Yogananda, Swami Kriyananda, and he really felt Swami Kriyananda, who was our friend and mentor and guide from the late 1960s till his passing in 2013, he really took up this cause of Yogananda's, this mission. And as you mentioned earlier, there are communities, 6 in the United States, and one wonderful international community in Europe, and 2 in India. So it's really an international work, and the principles that we have through living the teachings of Yogananda in an environment of people who all support it have really, I think, have something very profound that the world can learn from.
And I have to agree wholeheartedly, because I believe honestly that communities should be able to provide support so that, as I mentioned earlier, no one would have to deal with tragedy or suffer alone. They would not have to die alone. They would not have to starve or worry about being homeless. And that's a type of Social Security that the government cannot provide. It comes as an added bonus from living in like-minded communities like the one that I visited at Ananda Village. And I'm not easily impressed, but I was impressed with everything that I saw there. In particular, how happy and wholesome the children are, and the women. When the women and the children are happy, everything else kind of flows and works.
That's a really important principle, because we find throughout the world that as the status of women, as their conditions begin to rise, then society all around them begins to improve. There's a kind of a mechanism that started a few years ago, which is microloans, in which cases you have a very small amount of money. It might be $100 that is loaned to someone so that they can start a little business.
Right.
And that concept has been spread around the world.
Yeah.
But what we found is that if you loan that money to women, then their little business improves the whole of society around them, because they're the caretakers. They're the ones who look out for the other people in their families, in their communities. And so to empower women to rise to their own natural strength is a tremendously important aspect of finding happiness.
Go ahead.
So in the Ananda communities, it's a very egalitarian society as far as gender and race and religious background or affiliation, that I would say about half the leaders worldwide are women. And then also you mentioned the children. This is a very big segment of the movie Finding Happiness, where we talk about the system of education we have called Education for Life. And it's we could do a whole program on this, and maybe you should have. We should do that sometime since you have an educational background.
Absolutely, and I was just going to say that one of your little authors there is a child, and I bought one of her books, yes. And I'm planning on having her on the show, and I definitely would like to bring on whoever the director of the school is to talk about that school there and the blueprint that you guys have, because I was just struck with awe that the teachers teach the same way that I teach at the college level, which is also modeled on the way that my teachers taught me. And it's holistic learning, which Maria Montessori and Krishnamurti were real proponents of. So I was just blown away and very much impressed with the school at Ananda Village.
Very good. You know, there's a whole new wave of education that's starting to emerge, and I say starting because the old form of just stuffing facts and highly competitive educational processes are still very dominant in the world, but I think people are starting to discover they don't produce happiness. They don't produce a balanced lifestyle. And by the way, we mentioned the little girl here who has written a book. I just spoke with her mother yesterday. Now she's on her third book.
Wow.
She's 10 years old.
What's her name again?
Isabel Polacek.
Say it again?
Isabel Polacek.
Thank you. I didn't have the book with me, but oh my God, the child was just absolutely delightful, as were all of the children that I met there. And that's something you just don't see outside of places like Ananda Village. The kids were not self-absorbed. They were actually interested in their environment. They were interested in people. And they were actually having fun with learning. And that's what I think learning should be about. It should be practical, but at the same time enjoyable. And that's exactly what you guys are accomplishing there at Ananda Village.
And as well as that, really introducing an element of service to humanity.
Yes.
Our junior high and high school students regularly work throughout the year as a group, save money, and then they make a trip down to an orphanage in Mexico and live there with the orphans for about 2 weeks and just help them. Our students learn Spanish so they can communicate easily, and it's really been a wonderful experience for them, as well as our students work in soup kitchens and homes for special needs children. So just for them to begin learning at an early age that there are so many people in the world who need energy, who need help, who need love, and that they can give that.
And moreover, so that they can themselves experience the fact that when they help other people, they themselves are happier.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
And so it's the basis of the education is to look at the child on all levels. The typical schools tend to look at children more intellectually, but and to a certain extent physically, but even that's beginning to diminish. And the real necessity for everybody is to have their whole being fulfilled and educated, one might say. So if you look at children from their own center rather than as them being a cog in society, but what do they themselves need? They need love. They need to learn certain basic principles such as kindness and communication and self-assurance.
Okay, and after commercial break, we'll be back with more of how you can find happiness by living in like-minded spiritual communities. I'm talking with the spiritual directors, the worldwide spiritual directors of Ananda Village, about their film, Finding Happiness. And here's the cover of the DVD and the book. You'll want to go to findinghappinessthemovie.com. Is that correct? Finding Happiness the movie or the film?
The movie.
Okay, wonderful. Findinghappinessthemovie.com.
Did you know that with a bachelor's degree, on average, you can make almost twice as much over a lifetime than a person with just a high school diploma? Yes! According to the U.S. Census Bureau, you can make almost twice as much. Going back to college is now easier than ever. There are select online colleges that provide laptops to their students. In fact, there are thousands of college programs on your laptop. You can go to college anywhere and everywhere right from a laptop. Call My College Laptop and you can find hundreds of programs from accredited colleges and universities nationwide. Start a new career in law enforcement, business, information technology, healthcare, and hundreds of others. Call My College Laptop to find an online college that will provide you with a laptop. In no time at all, you can double your earning potential. Double your earning potential. Call now. 1-800-731-4185. That's 800-731-4185. 800-731-4185.
When you really want Italian food, you've got to go to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. If you haven't been to Columbo's, you don't know what you're missing. Delicious food. The steaks on this side are fabulous. The seafood so fresh and flavorful. Columbo's family Italian specialties are Southern California legendary, and the meatballs, the best in the West, North, South, and East. Plus service that's friendly but not fawning, and jazz every night, and it's also affordable. That's what makes Columbo's special, and they make special easy, whether for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. That's why when you really want Italian food, you've got to go to Columbo's, because it really is that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Columbo's, making special easy every day. Columbo's, mangia.
Have you ever considered adding a home security system but thought it would be too expensive? Here's the good news. There's never been a more affordable time to help protect your home, valuables, and your loved ones. You can now get a $100 Visa card from Protect Your Home, your authorized ADT dealer, with the installation of a new ADT monitored system. Here's even better news. Your new system, worth $850, is free. You pay just a $99 installation charge and purchase monthly monitoring for less than $2 a day. Call Protect Your Home today at 1-866-669-8954. That's 1-866-669-8954. Get the peace of mind that comes with owning an ADT monitored system, plus a $100 Visa card from Protect Your Home. Call now, 1-866-669-8954. That's 1-866-669-8954. 36-month monitoring contract required. General terms and conditions apply. Visit protectyourhome.com/terms.
Okay, we're back with my discussion with the spiritual directors of Ananda Worldwide about the film Finding Happiness. And I noticed that when I was there at Ananda Village, that clearly with the 4 decades that Ananda Village has been in existence, you guys have pretty much, in my opinion, perfected the blueprint for a utopian community. And I also saw that you have someone or a group there who is advising and helping other people around the world plan like-minded communities. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, first of all, I just want to make a correction.
Okay.
The website about the movie Finding Happiness.
Okay.
FindingHappinessMovie.com, not the movie.
Thank you. Okay.
Well, we have, it's interesting that you use the word blueprint, because when our founder, Swami Kriyananda, was with Yogananda and he talked with him about these World Brotherhood communities, Yogananda had a very interesting phrase. He said, the blueprint is in the ether, meaning that there is a divine vision for our age of what these communities are, and it's for individuals to discover. And we want to keep that blueprint flexible and fluid, so
right.
It's not like every other community that would develop throughout the world would be a cookie-cutter image of what Ananda Village is or some of the other communities. In fact, when we began our community in Italy, we had to really adapt to a lot of the cultural perspectives and family lifestyles and so forth. And similarly in India, it's a different experience. So Kriyananda, our founder, said, I couldn't see communities developing that are based all on healing modalities or the arts or organic agriculture and alternative food production. So everyone would be different. But I think what we do have to share, and then I'm going to hand the mic over to Jyotish, are the principles on which this community has been successful.
So let's talk about those principles, because I think without the basic principles, it doesn't matter, what the group is trying to achieve as a collective. Everything will fall apart without the principles.
Absolutely. And surprisingly, the principles that you really need to pay attention to are very few and very simple.
Okay.
And the first one is that you have to live according to your best insight of righteousness.
Okay.
So we have a phrase that says, where there is dharma or righteousness, there is victory. It was actually the slogan of a Maharaja in India that Swami Kriyananda saw at one time. But setting aside the phrase and the slogan and the words, the real principle here is that if a person lives according to the highest personal sense of what is righteous living, then you begin to have a society that is based upon righteous principles. So things like, the Ten Commandments could be adapted to this. In Indian teachings, there's Patanjali's Yoga Yamas and Niyamas, which also give a series of, one could say, moral principles.
Right.
Things like non-harming of other people.
Exactly.
Honesty.
Integrity.
Integrity, all of those. So living according to Dharma is really important.
And I think you can sum everything up with the golden rule of doing unto others as you would have them do unto you, or even the phrase "do the right thing" from a popular movie. And when you're looking at what is in the highest good of the whole, the entire community, versus what one individual wants, perhaps from an egotistical standpoint. And I think you guys have figured that out. So after commercial break, I want to talk more about how this blueprint evolved and how you were able to perfect it, and a little bit more about Swami, because I thought it was auspicious that you were able to complete the movie before he died. You're listening to Divine Love Talk on CRN. I'm your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant, and I want you to go out and watch that movie, Finding Happiness, at the website findinghappinessmovie.com. I'm sure you will be inspired. We'll be back with more after commercial break.
Located in the heart of Maui's premier resort, Kaanapali Beach Hotel is officially recognized as Hawaii's most Hawaiian hotel and the #1 best value in Hawaii. With a range of accommodations and affordable dining options, this is the ideal setting to turn Hawaiian dreams into lifelong memories. Live Hawaiian entertainment every evening, free year-round children's programs, weekly arts and crafts fairs, welcome breakfast, and departure kukui lei ceremonies add to the value. Swim in the whale-shaped pool, indulge in the fabulous spa and hotel salon. Enjoy Hawaiian hospitality at its best at the Kaanapali Beach Hotel. Call 800-262-8450 or go to kvhmaui.com. That's kvhmaui.com. Aloha.
Maui's Hawaiian Hotel.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
In 2002, a National Sleep Foundation poll found that 63% of women had trouble sleeping. Hi, how in the world are you anyway? I'm Andy Willoughby. In my opinion, a major reason for insomnia is the Blue Card. It's a shopping and loyalty card, and it's free. That's right, free. No charge, nada. With the Blue Card, you can receive up to 5% cash back on purchases. Most cards only offer 2% at most. No wonder girls can't sleep. With the Blue Card, you can also get shopping points that you could use for online purchases. So it's cash back and shopping points. Am I keeping you awake? If you refer the Blue Card to someone else, you could even earn money on their purchases. No, I'm serious. It's true. But it gets better. If you share the Blue Card with a merchant, you could earn on the purchases of everyone who uses the Blue Card at their store. There is no way you're going to get any sleep until you get your own free Blue Card. So call 800-316-7362 and order your free Blue Card so you can rest easy again. Call 800-316-7362.
Times are different than they were when Geico started saving people money over 75 years ago. Everybody takes photos of their food nowadays. You can bet none of us kids would snap pictures of Mom's tuna casserole surprise. To this day, we don't know what the surprise was, nor do we want to. We didn't always have tasty food, but we always had great car insurance with Geico.
Geico, saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years.
Here on CRN, we'd like to keep you updated on what's happening in wine throughout the state of California. Napa, Sonoma, the Pacific Coast has great regions like the Central Coast area, Paso Robles, Santa Barbara, Temecula. Join our very own Larry Van Alst as he takes a look at what's cooking on wine, the Sonoma Report. It comes your way Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. right here on CRN. Winemakers, superstars, wine growers, and more. With Larry Van Alst, what's cooking on wine, the Sonoma Report.
Okay, we're back, continuing our discussion about finding happiness in like-minded spiritual communities that are based on Dharma or right action. Before commercial break, I talked about having a little discussion about Swami and his leadership, since he basically founded the village. And is it my understanding, have the two of you taken over as the spiritual leaders of Ananda Village? Or you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So could you talk a little bit, because I think that its leadership is so important in communities, and clearly Swami was an amazing leader. And how did it affect the community with his passage and you guys stepping into his shoes? Could we talk a little bit about that?
Sure, be happy to. First of all, just a little personal background. I met Swami Kriyananda in 1966 and actually started working with him before Ananda was founded in San Francisco. And so then when Ananda was founded a couple of years later, I worked as the general manager of the community for the first 10 years, and then along with Davy and I began more work of helping found other communities around the world. So we've had a lot of long experience, but there were 2 or 3 things that Kriyananda did that were very, very important. First of all, he had a deep attunement to the spiritual nature not only of himself but of other people. And so he always tried to bring people up to their own highest level of, one could say, functioning, one could say their own spiritual level, their sense of, we've been talking about Dharma, so that they would express that. So he always tried to help everybody rise up to their own highest level, as opposed to being the kind of top-down founder or leader that might suppress others to make himself look good.
Right.
He empowered other people, and as the community movement started by Ananda spread around the world, he very much trusted other leaders to go out and start communities. He didn't micromanage.
Okay.
He was always there supporting. What he did do was, he was a prolific author. He wrote 100 books. And in those books, he took these ancient teachings of India and of the Bible and different spiritual teachings, and he put them into modern language so that they were really lucid and really clear, and that people could not only understand them, but understand how to live according to those principles.
And then you asked the question about the transition between Swami Kriyananda's passing, which was he passed on April 2013, April 21st, 2013. And as Jyotish was implying, Swami had been training leaders in all of our centers and communities throughout the world. And Jyotish and I, for I would say the past, 30 years, had really worked very closely with him. And it wasn't a surprise to anybody that, the baton would be handed off. And because we had spent a great deal of time with him, really in our communities throughout the world, we really knew his thinking, his direction, his wishes for the development and the continuity of the work. And I think it's gone, from our point of view, it's gone very well, the transition. And from the feedback we get we travel a great deal, which is why we couldn't be in Los Angeles to be with you, unfortunately. But we'll be going back to India in about another 2 weeks. But from traveling around the world, people have shared with us how it really has been a very smooth transition. So I think that's the mark of a very fine leader and one who has vision of how to create a sense of continuity. And we're trying to, as best as we can, follow in his footsteps.
Well, it's certainly, from the time that I spent there at Ananda Village, it certainly seems that everyone there is happy. I didn't see any storms brewing. I just thought it was important to bring that question up, because you see in so many groups, when the leader is gone, it divides into factions, and inevitably it just kind of falls apart. And that always is tragic to me when I see a beautiful vision that just dies. But it is also clear to me that you have a sound set of principles that you guys are working through, and they are working. So if it's not broken, don't fix it. And again, I'm going to go back to the children. What struck me again when I was there is how safe it is for children to grow up in a community like Ananda. I always thought about when my kids were growing up in the city, and you could not allow them to, run up and down, to neighbors' houses by themselves. Everything, had to be supervised with them. And I wondered, what's going to happen to the world with children that are growing up afraid to play outside of their backyard or their patio? And the children at Ananda don't have to worry about that. So there's that innocence and that creativity that comes from the freedom to explore.
That's really true, Parthenia, but the important point for the listeners to get from this is that it isn't that, this small group of children growing up in a rural spiritual community have this benefit, but the principle behind it, and that's when there is freedom and trust, a tremendous strength and confidence develops in the students. And our students have, many of the children, in fact, I would say the majority, go on and don't choose to live at Ananda, but choose different lifestyles, different professions, different callings, and they carry that confidence and strength with them. And so it isn't just, like they're hothouse flowers that you put them in the harsh environment of the workaday world and they wither and die, but they flourish because they have that ability.
Well, I did talk to some of the parents there, and I do really love the fact that the children are free to go and explore the world after they've been given this amazing foundation, because the world is really, really big, and there aren't enough people with really sound ideas and sound minds that can go out and be a light unto the world and an example for other people to follow. And I think that that's what a lot of the children who are leaving, growing up and leaving the village are doing. Although I'm sure there are some that leave and come back, because I spoke to a couple.
There certainly are. I think all the children that leave, whether they come back or not, they feel a certain, sense of gratitude, of specialness that they were allowed to develop in a place like this that was so trusting and so supportive and helped them develop on their intellect and their artistic natures. We have, concerts by the young children who learn to play various instruments, and there's the whole community is very supportive, not just of the children, but of everyone. And a child growing up in an environment like that develops a very strong inner core.
Yes.
Self-confidence, of feeling that they can use their abilities to the highest possible level. And then wherever they go, they bring that core strength with them. And some go out and into wide different parts and different kinds of occupations and different areas of the world, and they thrive there. Others look back and say, and this is often after some years, they will be in an occupation, will have graduated, maybe taken postgraduate degrees, and have succeeded in some endeavor that they're trying to succeed in, and then they begin to think, no matter where I go, I never find anything that is as good as where I grew up. Maybe I ought to just go back there and move talents and strengths back there.
And certainly, come back to raise your children in a place like Ananda Village, which, again, I haven't seen anything like it, and I travel all over the world, and I just think that I'm so grateful that you guys did do the movie Finding Happiness, so that other people can know that places like this exist. So what I'd like to talk about now is, if someone was interested in creating a community based on on the principles that you guys have really honed and perfected, what's the process that they would go about? Who would they contact?
Right. First step is just to easiest access is our wonderful website, Ananda, ANANDA.org.
Okay.
Of course, we mentioned already the movie, FindingHappinessMovie.com. The movie, which is, if you go on that website, you can watch, you can find out how to view it.
Right.
I think seeing the movie is probably the first step for
yes.
an interested person, because there I think we were able to capture very effectively the way of life, the principles, the experience, and the benefits of living in such a place. And then if you go to ananda.org, you'll find out how you can actually visit. We're getting visitors from all over the world coming now. We have a wonderful guest retreat where people can stay and begin seeing it firsthand. So I think first see the movie, come for a visit, or visit one of the centers in your area. We have many on the West Coast. And also for our international listeners, as I mentioned, in Europe and in India. So come and see for yourself, because as I know we weren't here when you came to visit Parthenia, but we understand that you had a wonderful time. And substitute for seeing it in action. So I think those are the first steps to take.
Okay, because I know that anyone who sees the movie is going to want to rush out and go visit whatever Ananda community is closest to them. I understand that the one in Sicily, there's one in Sicily that's based on
Assisi of St. Francis.
Right, yeah, based on St. Francis. That was very magical, because St. Francis of Assisi, I just love him and the work that he did. So I was very pleased to hear that you guys have a community there.
It's a beautiful community with people from, I think at this point there's 10 different countries that are represented, European countries, from Russia to England.
Wow. That is very impressive.
Yeah, we pointed out at one group gathering a couple of years ago that a generation ago, the countries represented by the people in the room were at war with each other. And now everybody is cooperating, and it feels not like the national boundaries have disappeared, but they have become less relevant. It's one family. And it's more like the United States. If you're with a group of people, you might know that one's from Kentucky and another from New York, but it isn't terribly relevant.
Right.
And in our European community, it really is one community, no matter what their background of nationality or language.
And I know our time is drawing to a close, but I just there's one word that Jyotish just used, and that's cooperation.
Yes.
We haven't talked about that much yet. But, in this world today, we see it's being torn apart heart-wrenchingly by competition and conflict. And this simple principle of cooperation, learning to see another person's point of view, integrating it into your own perspective. We saw a quote recently from the Dalai Lama: if every 8-year-old child could be taught meditation, there would, within a generation, there would be no more war. So meditation is the practice which enables us to expand our consciousness so that we can cooperate. And I think for me, these two aspects, living in Ananda since its founding in 1969, I've really found that meditation and the cooperation and harmony in daily life that it produces, these are answers to the world's problems, and we've demonstrated it here. And we hope your listeners will watch the movie. I showed it to people that I didn't think would have any interest in it, just to see their reaction. And invariably, people are just moved to tears at the potential for human harmony and cooperation.
I would agree, especially after Fox Television had a new show called Utopia that failed in its premise because there was no unified vision that came together among the people that were chosen, and certainly not as much cooperation as was needed for a community to thrive. So after commercial break, we'll be wrapping this up, talking with the spiritual leaders of Ananda Worldwide and the film FindingHappinessMovie.com. You're listening to Divine Love Talk. I'm your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant.
You order a glass of your favorite Cabernet, fresh asparagus, hollandaise on the side, a filet, medium rare. You unfurl your napkin with a flair, close your eyes, and prepare to listen. Ah, there it is. The sweet music you long to hear. The sizzle. The sizzle of a Ruth's Chris steak.
The most magnificent corn-fed prime beef, broiled to perfection at 1800 degrees. Some call it a sizzle. We call it an anthem.
As the waiter approaches, you think, is this one mine or that one?
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Like Ruth always said, life's too short to eat anywhere else.
Make a reservation online at ruthschris.com or by calling 800-544-0808.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names. Really? Yeah. They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-471-5173, 800-471-5173.
Homeowners, there's never been a more affordable time to help protect your home and loved ones. You can now get a $100 Visa card from Protect Your Home, your authorized ADT dealer, with the installation of a new ADT monitored system. Call Protect Your Home today at 1-866-669-8954. That's 1-866-669-8954. Call now. 36-month monitoring contract required. General terms and conditions apply. Visit protectyourhome.com/terms.
The Showroom at South Point presents singer-songwriter Tommy Rowe. Remember? Tommy Rowe, live on stage January 23rd through the 25th. Tickets at the box office, online at SouthPointCasino.com, or charge by phone, 702-797-8055. Tommy Rowe at the South Point.
Jelly tight, look a little naughty, but you're so polite.
Okay, we're back wrapping this up on Divine Love Talk on CRN. I'm your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant, and I'm speaking with the spiritual directors of Ananda Worldwide about their film, Finding Happiness. You can go to findinghappinessmovie.com. You can stream the movie online. You can buy the DVD, invite friends over, and get creative about ideas for your future if you're thinking about getting away from the city and living among like-minded people. So as we wrap this up, could you guys talk for a bit about the meditation programs that you offer there at Ananda?
We have two ways that people can learn meditation. First of all, they can visit Ananda, and as Davy was saying, the best entry into that is ananda.org. You can find out about everything. But we have a meditation retreat, or a retreat that not only teaches meditation in a variety of aspects and levels of it, but a wide variety of other classes and aspects of being a happy person.
Including yoga, right?
Including yoga. We not only have yoga daily and teach that, but we also have a yoga teacher training course for people who want to take it more deeply.
Now, what form of yoga is it that the training course offers?
Actually, this is, again, a form that's based on Yogananda's teachings. We call it Ananda Yoga.
Okay.
And it's a bridge between the physical and the meditative. And many people who have just practiced yoga on a very almost calisthenic kind of level, when they come and practice our yoga, they say, oh, this is a totally different experience. I'm really finding relaxation and inner peace. So it's a system that, again, was created by our founder, Swami Kriyananda. Okay. But I wanted to also comment when you said if you really want to get away from things, Finding Happiness, the movie, and the Ananda communities are not just for people who want to get away from things, because many people don't have the ability to leave home, job, family. But every aspect of our life, wherever we are, can be improved by the practice of meditation, of yoga, and the principles that we've discovered. And we should also mention we have wonderful online classes on all of these topics, on meditation, yoga, success, health, family, and many, many things. And again, you can find about all that on ananda.org.
All right. Go ahead.
And, just to conclude, Parthenia, this has been wonderful. You're a wonderful hostess, and we've so enjoyed talking with you. And we just hope that your listeners will take the time. It really can be life-changing to see Finding Happiness. Go to the website, findinghappinessmovie.com. I showed it at a family gathering last year where there were many relatives I hadn't seen for quite a long time, and I had no idea how they would react. They said, this is a life-changing experience.
It is, and we'll be editing this video and getting it, spreading it around, and I'll be having a gathering at my place for some of my students to check this out. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and Santoshi, thank you so much for inviting me out there. You've been listening to Divine Love Talk on CRN. We'll be back next week.
Favorite talk radio shows sound like this? What if you could hear your favorite shows in crystal clear, high definition digital sound?